Greetings to one and all. I am Mr. Sambhajirao Suryavanshi. Would like it very much to give a presentation today on very interesting poem by a poet George Herbert. The title of the poem is The Pulley. This poem is a secular poem. It is based on religious elements. And my friends, let me tell you that George Herbert is a metaphysical poet. The word metaphysical is made of original word metaphysics. What is meant by metaphysics? Meta means beyond and physics means physical nature. Whatever it is beyond physical nature, something mysterious, something wonderful, something religious, something highly intellectual, the poet is going to talk about. So, the poem is really very important, and I strongly appreciated this poem and would like it very much to explain this poem not only in examination point of view, but everyone should study this poem because it talks about human nature. It talks about God. It talks about creator of this universe, maker of this universe. God is almighty. God is omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent. And man is the creation of the God. So let us start the poem The Pulley by George Herbert. Today's poem The Pulley by the George Herbert. George Herbert was a Welsh born poet, orator and priest of the Church of England. His poetry is associated with the writings of the metaphysical poets, and he is recognized as one of the foremost British devotional lyricists. He was born into an artistic and wealthy family and largely raised in England. In short, I would like to say, my friends, George Herbert, he was a noted poet, noted orator, and he was the priest. And that's why majority of the poems are secular, are religious, and he is popularly known as metaphysical poet and one of the best lyricists in England. Now let's get through the poem stanza by stanza. The very first stanza is, when God at first made man, having a glass of blessings standing by, let us, said he, pour on him all we can. Let the world's riches, which dispersed lie, contract into a span. The poem is about the creation of humankind. God decided to pour a glass of blessings on humankind. All possible gifts were bestowed upon humankind. God intended to pour on humankind all treasures of the earth. God gives humankind knowledge, wisdom, beauty and strength. Everything from strength to beauty is bestowed. They have come together into a span. So what exactly it meant? God is the creator of this earth. God is the maker of this universe. And man is the production of the God. While giving birth to the man, there was a glass of blessings beside the God, and one by one the blessings were poured into the span, poured into the little body of humankind. All the blessings and all the treasure of this earth was bestowed on humankind. Majority of the things are given like beauty, knowledge, strength, wisdom, etc. But when there was very precious treasure, very precious thing to be bestowed, God made us stay. God made us stay, and He thought whether I should give this treasure to the humankind or not. This is what the meaning of the very first stanza. Let's move on to the next stanza. So strength first made a way, then beauty flowed, then wisdom, honor, pleasure. When almost all was out, God made us stay, perceiving that alone of all His treasure, rest in the bottom lay. The first of the blessings in the pulley that came to humanity was strength. It made us stay. Next came beauty. It was soon followed by wisdom, honor, and lastly pleasure. There are all incredibly important parts of human experience. But God did not bestow rest to humankind. His reasoning behind this choice is contained within the next two stanzas. My friends, let me clarify. God first of all added strength to the little body of the human being. Then beauty is also given. Wisdom is also given. Honor and pleasure are also given. What I mean to say, strength, beauty, wisdom, honor, pleasure, all these things are the God's gifts to humankind. And that's why among all the creatures on this earth, man is the superior to all of them. Incredible powers are there. And that's why man is very, very intellectual creature, very smart creature. But when only one thing was left in the blessings or in the cup of the blessings, that was the rest. God made us stay and said that whether I should give it or not give it. God was thinking about this, and God decided not to give, not to bestow this jewel into the span of humankind. Why? What is the reason behind that? The reasoning behind this is that is explained in the further two stanzas. So, out of curiosity, let's move on to the third stanza of the poem. For if I should, said he, bestow this jewel also on my creature, he would adore my gifts instead of me, and rest in nature, not the God of nature. So both should losers be. The speaker describes how it was God's choice to not bestow rest on humanity. He knew that if he did so, then he would adore my gifts instead of me. God did so because man would adore God's gifts instead of God. God made this choice because he didn't want humankind spending their days worshipping nature. Instead, they should be appreciating the God of nature. In simplified words, I would like to say that God thought that the pulley, it is a mechanical device. You know it well, my friends. The pulley lifts up the things towards itself, and through the restlessness, God will lift man up to the breast of himself. That was the reasoning, that was the logic behind God's planning. Whatever it is done by the God, it is absolutely right. And if this thing was bestowed on humankind, God will not be remembered by the man. Man will not have worshipped God, And that's why there will be no any connection, there will be no any connectivity, there will be no any bonding at all between the creator and the human being. This was the simple logic behind this. And further, God said that if I would be a loser and man would be a loser, what is the use of this? So restlessness, it is a must in the life of human being. To be happy every day is not to be happy at all. To understand how important our life is, to understand how important this particular happiness is, one should know first of all what is the unhappiness. So, in that point of view, God made perfect thing and God took the perfect decision by not bestowing rest into the span of human mind. And now, fourth stanza of the poem. Yet let him keep the rest, but keep them with repining restlessness. Let him be rich and weary, that at least if goodness lead him not, yet weariness may toss him to my breast. In the final lines of the Pulley, the speaker finishes up God's reasoning behind his choice not to give humanity a complete life of rest. God believes that if there is weariness in one's everyday life, then that feeling of exhaustion will toss humankind to his breast. These different periods of activity, exhaustion, rest and rejuvenation are just as integral to human existence as are strength and wisdom. My friends, it is very, very important stanza of the poem. It is the peak point of the poem and it is the culmination. I would say that, yes, whatever it is done by the God while bestowing lot of jewels into the span of human mind, humankind, I would say that God made no mistake at all. God did the right thing only. Otherwise, man would have forgotten God. Man would have disconnected himself from the God, and there will be no any benefit either of the God or of the humankind. And that's why God said, I want man to have the richness, but only through sorrows and sufferings, only through weariness, and only through adversities, man will be very powerful one. And that's why this was the perfect planning behind this one. So, the poem is like this. Now, appreciation of poem in point format. What is the title of the poem? The title of the poem is The Pulley. Who is the poet of this poem? George Herbert. What is the theme of the poem? The reason why humankind is restless all the while. Rhyme scheme AB, AB, A. Figures of speech, metaphor. Special features, it's about human nature, rich in imagery. Favorite line, let him be rich and weary. Why I like this poem? Poem teaches us not to be dissatisfied and contented and be always grateful to God, the universe maker, for all the blessings and treasures bestowed on us. So, to conclude, I would say that man should always remember God. Man should always worship God. God is the creator, maker of this universe, and that's why we should be very humble, very polite, very loyal to the God. God says that my blessings are always with you. Go ahead, you will enjoy your journey. You will have lot of happiness in your life. God is always with us. Only thing is that we should not forget him. We should not disconnect from him, but we should stay connected, stay blessed, and that's why the poem is really very fantastic one. There is a good message given in this poem. So my friends, I strongly feel that I tried my level best to explain the poem line by line and stanza by stanza. It is one of the best poems by George Herbert. It is secular. It is simply great. And it is about God. It is about human being. And that's why it is a very fantastic metaphysical poem by George Herbert. Before I conclude my presentation today on this poem, I would like to request every one of you, please like my videos, share and comment my videos, do subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for my upcoming videos based on education, motivation, spoken English, personality development, communication skills and much more. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time with me.